Black Gives Way to Blue is obviously a record title, easy to understand, but is there a specific meaning to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. It's from the song, on the that ends the record, and it's a very significant song for us. Written for Layne and also written for ourselves. Going through the process of having to say goodbye to somebody so close to us and so intertwined with our lives, it just seemed fitting to call it that. We all were kind of separately thinking that. I remember, we had talked at one point one day, wondering what we were going to call the record, and everybody kind of had the same idea. So that's why we ended up calling it that. But I think it's very, very fitting and appropriate.
And yeah, the production is pretty huge. I mean, there's like many vocals everywhere. It's like a big guitar sound, drum sound, everything. So I think yeah, Nick Raskulinecz, I don't know how to spell his name really, but but yeah,
I think
Nick.
Lennox.
Yeah, yeah, you got it right. And yeah, Nick did an amazing job, I think, with you guys. So, what were the reasons for choosing him in the first place?
Yeah, well, Nick's a really talented guy, and he was a friend of Dave Grohl's, and Dave obviously is a good friend of ours, and been very supportive of us during the whole journey that we've taken here, and he suggested Nick as somebody we might want to talk to, about recording the record, and he also offered a studio, which Nick is a partner in as well at the 606 here in the Valley, and so we ended up meeting him, and Dave was completely right. He was he has a real enthusiasm for what he does, and he brought a lot to that record. I got to give him a lot of credit for how that record sounds.
Okay, okay, yeah, it sounds pretty big, yeah. And
Sure, yeah. Paul Figueroa, the engineer, and Nick and also Randy Staub did an amazing job on the mix.
okay, okay. Yeah, it must have been like really hard to mix all those vocal tracks and stuff. It's always been like many vocal tracks on Alice in Chains record, but on this one, I feel like there's like yeah, 20 vocal tracks per song. I don't know, but that's definitely a lot.
Well, hopefully it's done in the spirit of the blueprint that we kind of established before.
Yeah.
Obviously things are different, and adding William as a really talented member to the band, and he brings a lot, and vocally, I'm still here, and so that maybe that relationship that I had with Layne and what we created, I think that how William and I work together now is very similar. Yet of course it's got to be a little different, and but I think that's one of the hallmarks of this band has always been the way that the music and the band sounds itself, and of course with the kind of dual singing and harmony and stuff like that, and I think that particular point of Alice is an important one, and it's pretty much the only way I know how to write. So so it's just how I write, and I think William and I work together really well as a team, and like I said, he brings a lot in with himself, and he's also got me and the rest of the guys who've been here all along.
And yeah, you were mentioning your relationship with Williams. So basically, what was his input on the disc? Did he wrote some songs, or did he contribute with his vocal idea? Or...
Sure. I mean, this has always been a band. It was a band before, and it's a band now, and it takes all of us to make this happen. And any idea that comes from an individual, and I've been fortunate enough to bring in a lot of ideas to the band over a lot of years, gets made so much better by going through the filter of everybody else. It's got a shit meter is pretty sensitive. In other words, everybody's got to be able to stand behind it. So, he brought in some really great ideas. There's a song called "Last of My Kind" that he wrote some really cool vocal lines and lyrics to, and he and I worked on the lyrics and vocal lines on too, and
Okay.
Sean even brought in some really cool musical ideas. Mike had some great stuff, and everybody's really creative. And but the trick is the band, has existed for some time, and although every album's got to be a little different, and it's got to kind of serve that sound. So, and the way that happens is by it kind of passing all of us, not just one individual bringing in an idea. It's got to pass the whole team, So.
Okay. And since he's a guitar player as well, I think it's always a plus, right?
Sure, without a
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah, he adds a lot of dimension, and a lot of, we have, he's a talented guitar player, so we have that option too, to be able to utilize those talents of his as well.
Okay. And yeah, you were mentioning "Last of My Kind," which is the song in which he sings pretty much on his own. So, but all the other songs really feature the double vocals harmonies, but on the mix, to me, your voice is upper in the mix than Williams' one. So, was it in order to show you don't want to find a replacement for Layne, not to shock the diehard fans, or something?
Well, I mean, this was never about replacing Layne. There's no replacement for Layne Staley, absolutely none. And we're not interested in doing that. What we were interested in doing was, and it's a really difficult and tricky situation. This is our music too, and as far as I know, we've been in this band for 22
Yeah.
years. I don't think anybody else has been in it. So, as far as anybody who's got the right or wrote those songs, those are ours as well as Layne's, and he lives through that, and that's a big part of the thing. So it was never about getting somebody to replace him. It was getting somebody to help the band operate in the way that we operated before. And of course, the dynamic is going to shift. I mean, toward the end of the last couple of Alice records, I was singing quite a bit, and singing a lot of leads, and I have to give Layne a lot of credit for that, because he gave me a lot of confidence to kind of step up and take on more of a responsibility in that area. And so that's probably a reflection of where we left off. It wasn't with any plan or intent, but I guess that's really the message here. It's a band, and it's about two of us doing the job that needs to be done vocally in this band. So the band has always been that, and it wouldn't have operated with just me singing. It wouldn't have operated with just Will singing. And it's just not the way the band works.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Again, that's something that's always been kind of exciting to me about this band. Some of my favorite bands throughout my life have been bands that have more than one vocalist, or the blend of a couple, or one guy can carry it. One guy carries a lead for for some time, and another guy carries it somewhere else. I've always been a fan of those sorts of bands, and kind of was always really. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Got a helicopter flying over. So anyway, it's something that what we've always kind of strove to do. It just kind of came naturally, and of course the dynamic is going to shift a little bit. Not only are we bringing in somebody to help represent and to add to the thing with William. There's also three guys that have been here all along, and I'm just trying to grow musically and shoulder up and carry the load alongside William. So.
And are you talking on the song your decision about this decision to move on and continue your career?
Well, I mean, I guess you could relate that to that, but it doesn't overtly mean that.
Okay.
The meaning to me is a very vague one. It's that the message in that song is I think the message in that song is just about one of the few things that you have control of in your life, which is a choice. Which is choosing. You have the power of choice in your life, and it's it's how you exercise that or how you don't. And some choices are not really good. Some turn out to be okay. They're all lessons, man, and you figure that out as you go along. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't directly say that it relates exactly to us continuing on with the band, but I can hear how you could infer that.
Okay. And the song "Looking in View" is definitely a huge epic. And when you wrote this song, did you feel it could become a classic? Because to me, it's already like one of the Alice in Chains classics, I think.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, when it came, we finished the record, and we were just trying to figure out where our new home was gonna be, and we were in the process of working that out with Virgin EMI and Parlophone or whatever, and so it was going to take a couple of months before anybody was going to get to hear it, because of course you need some time to kind of set things up and try to do things properly, and so that was kind of like a first choice from all of us. It was a nice big chunk of music, and it's almost 7 minutes long, and we thought that would be everybody, that was kind of one of the favorites from early on. So it's kind of cool to put that thing out first, and also it was really cool to see the reaction to that, and that it actually got some play on radio stations without us serving it. We didn't actually serve it, we just kind of put it on the website, and it was pretty cool to actually see people react to that song the way that they did.
Okay. And yeah, there's also this single "Check My Brain," which is pretty catchy. And so what's the story behind that one?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just I live in California now, and it's probably a place that I didn't see myself ending up, and it's just kind of funny to me that I did end up here, and life's a little different these days than it used to be, back in the old days, and it's all good. I dig where I'm at. I'm really glad to be kind of where I am, and I'm really really fortunate to still have my friends, and to still have an opportunity to play our music that we wrote in our band, to people that care about it. And so that song is kind of just a personal little kind of inside joke, I guess, from someone who never really kind of expected to be where you are, and then you end up there, and you're okay, I guess.
Okay. And yeah, I've heard like Elton John played piano on the last track, Black Gives Way to Blue, so which is pretty awesome. And so, can you tell us the story?
Sure. I mean, he actually just called me yesterday, checking on the record, seeing how it was doing, and he's actually in the south of France, I think. So, we met a few years back, and I went to see him do a show in Vegas, and we were considering having somebody play piano on the title track, Black Gives Way to Blue, and Elton John for me is always, I've always cited him as one of my biggest influences as a songwriter, and a friend of ours suggested maybe we give him a call and ask him if he'd like to play on it, and so I wrote him a little email and sent it off to him and kind of explained the significance of the song, and that it was for Layne, and it's going to be the title track and all that, and he responded to it and said he wanted to play on it. So we flew out to Vegas, and after the record was done, and we'd already had the song tracked, and went out to the Palms. They got a nice little studio in there, and saw Elton show the night before and hung out with him a little bit, and then met him the next day and cut that track for a couple of hours. You know, it was a really kind of a real highlight, I guess. You know, it's a real special moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of treasure.